Welcome back to another clay tutorial. Today we are going to create a miniature Nintendo Gamecube. I know there's a lot of different colors that Gamecubes come in, but I think the most iconic of all of those is the purple. And I had to mix together a bunch of different colors to try to get the perfect shade of purple, and I think I got it pretty well. Now for the inner part of the figure, we're going to be using some aluminum foil. I had to really pound it for a while to get it into this perfect cube shape, and coating it with the purple clay, it seemed like it was very hard to get into a cube shape as well. It always wanted to keep the rounded edges, but I think that I got a pretty nice cube for this one. Here we're going to start working on the top of the GameCube. This is where it can pop open and you can put games into it. Here we have the opening button, and this is the reset button. And over here we have the power button. This will be where the Nintendo logo is, but honestly it's just too small to be able to draw it in there. Here we have the little non-stick pads at the bottom. And on the sides, we'll be creating the venting fans, or it's sort of the cage that goes in front of the fans. And we'll create that on the other side as well. After I created Emmett from the Lego movie, I wanted to create more miniature things, so I think in the future you guys can expect to see a bunch more. I don't really know where the idea came from to make a miniature system, but I know that GameCube was definitely my first choice. And we'll have another system coming very soon in the next week or two. Here we'll start working on the details on the front. These are where you can put in the memory cards. And now we can make these markings here where this is where you plug into the controllers into the system. And there's a dot above each one depending on which player that is. You can clean that up a little bit with a Q-tip. Now we can start working on the back of the system. If you'll notice the way that I flipped it, I actually flipped it to the fact that this is going to be the front of the system. I don't know how I didn't notice that when I was doing it. I thought that I had it right. So later on I had to change things on the top of it. I had to change out where the buttons were and everything. So what we're working on the back here is basically just all the details, like where you plug things in. I wanted to go for all the details I could on this, not just go for, the basic looks. Even though we won't have cords plugging into everything, I think it's a good idea to really make everything spot on to the console. Now we're going to take a little bit of this Sculpey liquid clay. And I know that it's maybe not super necessary, but I wanted this piece to be a bit stronger. Now we can use some more of this glue and put on the front piece, which is actually on the back of the system, but I fixed that. I didn't have to show you guys that part. Here we have the power light when the system's on. And now we will start creating the controller. I don't know why I didn't think of this, but if the system's purple, I probably should have made a purple controller. I don't know why black just came to mind as the controller I should create. So the shape of these controllers is kind of strange compared to other systems controllers. Here we go, creating this part where the control stick sticks out of. And again, just with the system, I wanted to go as detailed as I possibly could. A lot of the details on here remind me of when I created FIMO. Here we have the different buttons on the controller. And I'm going to try to write the letters on them. It really only worked for A, Y, and X though. The B was just way too tiny. Here we have the C stick. Now we can work on the back. We have the L and R buttons, which I also wrote L and R into the buttons. This one is Z. Let's create a spot for the cord here. Now we can start creating the miniature games. So what I did to make these is I just found some pictures on Google, put them into Paint and resized them a little bit smaller and printed them out. It's a very simple process and I wasn't sure exactly what size I needed, so I just made them really tiny. But I think that it matches the size of the system pretty good. So here, just as an added feature, one of my favorite games was Donkey Konga or Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. They were both really good games, and the controller for these games was actually a set of bongos, and you hit them basically to move left or right, and then you clap to jump. But also for the Donkey Konga one, it was sort of like Guitar Hero, so it was like a music rhythm game and you had to hit the notes at the right time. So that was pretty awesome. So I just wanted to add that as an extra little feature. And now we can get everything onto the baking tray, ready to get baked. Okay, now we have some assembling to do. First we have these little black pieces here. I don't think I showed making these, but this is just going to be the plug-in for the system. So I found this little stretchy elastic wire. I think that usually this is used for making bracelets and things like that. I found it in the crafting aisle. So here we have that controller, and we have the Donkey Konga controller. Now we're gonna use some glue stick to attach these games on here, which worked actually surprisingly well. And if you want to do this yourself, it's very easy to find the pictures on Google. There's tons of them. These are just some of my favorite games for the system. So now I thought, I want to create Nintendo, the logo on here, but then I realized, oh, that's going to be way too tiny. But then I noticed that I wrote Carabix and it's only one letter shorter, but at the time Nintendo seemed way longer. Here we have another paper detail, the top of the Gamecube, which honestly looks really nice on there. And here it is, guys, the miniature Gamecube. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video or found it helpful. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and maybe even consider subscribing, and I will see you all in the next one.